So what about this internet about you reuniting with Aaron? Is that something you would be open to, amenable to, if this had happened this offseason? If the Jets offered a package big enough to satisfy the Raiders' need and you be reunited with Aaron, would that have been something you'd have been open to?
Well, I'll answer it like this. If I'm gonna be reunited with anybody, it would be Aaron.
Okay.
But or be, relocated and be anywhere, it would be with Aaron. But that's not really my. There's a lot of that stuff going on last year in the media and them asking, well, what are you going to do about this? Are you thinking about going here? And they talk about whatever without me even being involved in it. And it ended up getting all the way to the point where it got in the locker room and people was thinking that it was, I was the driving force. And I'm like, y'all just don't understand, man. Like, when I hate to say it like this because it makes me sound like I'm trying to put myself on a pedestal, but when you're a certain level of player, you don't have to come from you, and it oftentimes is not coming from you. And I'm not the type of person that I enjoy going and putting that type of stuff out there when I'm actively on the Raiders.
Right.
What do I look like sitting here talking to other people about being on another team?
Right.
And that's how I still feel about it right now. Like, I'm locked in with the Raiders, and I really feel good about this team. As far as I know, they feel good about me. And if that ever changed, if that got to a point where they weren't feeling the same way, I ain't done playing. So obviously we would figure out whatever we needed to figure out. But the thought of playing with Aaron is obviously amazing. Like, right. I already know what that's like, which was similar to why I came here and reunited with Derek was because I had familiarity with it, and anytime you have that, it gives you a little bit more confidence than starting fresh with somebody that you never played with before. Right. And it helps that when they're the best to ever play the game, or at least that's how I feel. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's certainly how I feel.
Yes, he's clearly one of the best.
And he's given me an opportunity to show the world what I can do. Mm-hmm. and having him to start out with, I'm sure, that what we was talking about earlier about, people say, did Aaron create you or this and that? No, but naturally, if you have a player that's a generational talent,
definitely help elevate you.
Exactly. And you looked at the next year when I wasn't there with him, it didn't look the same.
Right.
So if you got a tandem, anytime that you got somebody with some talent, they're gonna make each other better. So
correct.
I'm not afraid to say that he definitely made me better, but he definitely didn't create me. You see, it was the same numbers the very next year in Vegas. So right. Obviously I didn't quote unquote need him, but it makes life a hell of a lot easier, that's for sure.
Given the level of player that you are, given the level of player that Aaron is, given what you had with the Smith brothers, and that team, did you guys underachieve in Green Bay?
I believe so. I believe we did. I think anytime you have that level and consistently can dominate the way that we did and then just find a way to not do it when you really, really need to, I think you can say that. I wouldn't consider it a failure. I know people like to use that. So the way you said it, I would agree with more that way. It was definitely a underachievement because we didn't maximize it. We were the best team in football for a few years, and I truly believe that. And we weren't able to hoist that trophy, not even once. I didn't even get to play in the game. So, anytime you could say that your personnel and the system, everything was great, and then you don't have nothing to show for it, I feel like if you're being real enough with yourself, you can comfortably say, yeah, we didn't achieve what we were supposed to.
Does it keep you up at night knowing what you had? You look at Jair, you look at Preston and Zadarius, you look at yourself, you look at Aaron, you look at what you guys had.
Right.
You guys had not only just like good players, you guys had Pro Bowl, all pro level players.
All over the field.
For a good 4-year period. Mm-hmm. You guys had as good a talent as anybody.
Right.
And for you guys not to have, not even forget win the Super Bowl, to even play in that game, does that keep Tay awake at night knowing what could have been, what should have been?
It used to. It definitely used to. I think once I came to the Raiders, that was another reason why, is that being in 4 or 5 NFC Championship games in 8 years, and 2 of those years we didn't go to the playoffs. So almost every year we went to the playoffs, we went deep in the playoffs and just didn't get to the dance. So, it used to hurt me a lot, and that's a big reason. I was like, it kind of felt like that situation where, whether it's a friend or somebody, a family member, whatever, it's bad, but you like, it may not work with the next one, but it's worth at least moving on from this.
Right.
winning those games, it almost made it hurt a little bit more, like versus just being I was hurt more after those Packer ones than I was, last year not going, because you didn't even we didn't show that we were a team that should have been there. You know what I mean? But we
after about week 10 or 11, Tay, you're like, we're not going to the playoff.
Yeah.
But in Green Bay, you're like, hold on, we got the MVP. I'm an All-Pro. We got 5, 6, 7, 8 Pro Bowlers.
We got first round bye 3 times,
and they got to come through Lambeau.
And got our ass whooped in Lambeau by the most West Coast team that it was. So I don't think that the Packers can ever use that got to come. But we was practicing. I'm talking about I think it was -1 in that game that we played in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, and we came out firing too. The first drive, I think I had like 5 catches.
Oh yeah, the 49ers game, that night game. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm thinking,
you cookie. He's like, oh, we got this one.
And I'm feeling good because mind you, somehow. For 8 years in Green Bay, every single time throughout the week, it was always colder. And then in the game, it'd be cold as hell, but it was like...
It wasn't cold like during the week.
We had -20 in practice outside. And people think that we just out there just labbing, just, indoor or whatever. We stretch in there, get a little sweat, come out and then hit it running. It's hard when it's cold to get loose.
Right.
So we start inside, and then when practice start, right outside. Right. And we out there labbing, and I'm out there in that. So... Come game time, I done got the adrenaline, the game time feel, and it's not as cold as it was. So I'm flying around thinking it's gonna be one of them games, and lo and behold, we come up short after being ahead the entire game once again. Now we in the same situation and end up missing the NFC Championship game my last year, and I think that one was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back.
Did that hurt more than the Tampa loss? Because Tampa I just knew you guys had that. I shoved all my chips in.
Yeah.
Tay. I shoved all my chips. I say, this is the year right here.
Yeah.
I say, I know Tom, this is Tom's first year. They got this one.
Man, look, I say this. That I don't know which of those hurt more, but I would say the one that hurt the most was my very first year. We talking about, I don't know how well you remember that one, with the whole fumble onside kick.
Oh, yeah.
To them.
Seattle?
We was up 15 points with basically no time left in the game. So we damn near doing this to the crowd. Y'all go home now. It's over with. We to the Super Bowl.
Because y'all got that last pick
we got a pick in the middle of the field. And then I think Julius told or Morgan to slide down. We end up giving the ball back to him. They go down. They done faked the field goal, scored with a lineman. I'm like, what is going on, bro? So then that happened. I'm thinking, my rookie year, we going to Super Bowl. This is easy. This how the league is. And I ain't even barely do shit this year like that. I ain't I'm playing with 2 Pro Bowlers. Like I came in and held my own, but. It wasn't no Justin Jefferson, Odell Beckham, Jamar Chase rookie year by no means. I felt good about what I was doing, and I feel like I didn't have the same pressure as those guys not being a first rounder. But I feel like I was doing enough to feel good about it, and then boom, just yanked it right up underneath us. So I had a real harsh introduction to the league as far as how hard it is to win in the playoffs. That first year, and then next year we go, we doing it again. And I'm thinking we got it, and then. Another time, then it keep happening later. So it just got to a point where I was like, all right, well maybe it's just not meant to be, here. I gave this place everything I got. Maybe it's time to try to figure it out somewhere else.
Do you wish you had gone for it on that 4th down with Matt LaFleur? Because you guys had first and goal. You had three. I think you had three cracks at first and goal because you got a first down. Okay.
Yeah. I do. And I don't, it's always hard for me to say that because I don't want to make it seem like I don't trust the coach or this and that, but you asking me, and I do. Because I ain't on defense saying, whatever. I got something to directly do with that. Right. And it ain't no surprise that if we did, it was probably coming to me.
Right.
So, and if you tell me you got opportunity to change this game right now, I've done that over the course of my career many times. So if you ask me in the moment, hey, Davante, what should we do right now? Should we throw you this ball? You know what my answer gonna be.
Yes.
Especially at that point, we doing this too. That was a great year as far as the way we were rolling, Aaron and I. So, it hurt me to not have the opportunity to be a little bit more aggressive in that moment. But like I said, sometimes you make decisions or decisions are made and you got to live with them.
You were in Green Bay for 8 years. Mm-hmm. You had Aaron Rodgers, a generational talent. 4 times he was an MVP, and we know what he represents. How hard was it for you to leave that? Because the likelihood of you going somewhere and finding that elsewhere is not, especially the relationship that you guys have built. This is over a period of time. Y'all didn't develop this over 1 year or 2 training camps. This is year after year, after conversation, game after game. How hard was it for you to leave Green Bay and go to another situation, even though you was joining your ex-college teammate?
It was difficult, man, and honestly, I could be real and tell you that I knew it was gonna be hard, but it was a lot harder than what I even imagined, because it kind of felt like everybody had been in a situation where you got your girlfriend, whether it's middle school, high school, college, whatever, and it's not a good, this ain't what it need to be, and that wasn't based off our relationship. That's not what I'm equating it to. I'm saying more of the picture of the Green Bay situation at that time, and I felt like that wasn't necessarily what was best for me at that moment, especially with Aaron's his future in Green Bay kind of being up in the air the way it was, and him ultimately leaving. I didn't want to be there, and in hindsight, obviously Jordan loved balling out, and it would have been great to do that. But I'm the type of guy, once I make a decision, I live with it. I drive yourself crazy. You sit here and be worried about, did I do that? Oh, I wish I would have did this and did that. Like, you can't live life like that, man. Ain't no rewind button, so you got to make decisions and live with it. But it was definitely difficult, man. It's there's a dear friend of mine that it's tough to just not even be able to see somebody that you used to seeing for 8 years every day. Having that go to where you can only see each other every few times in the off season, it's just not the same. So it was hard, but it was something that needed to happen just based off the situation, and still here trying to make the best of it. But anytime you go from having the best quarterback ever throwing you the ball to any type of change, it's going to be an adjustment. So wasn't easy, but we still managing.
Did it make you? Because it made me upset, and I'm gonna see what you think about this, and I'll give you my point of view. When you left Aaron, people automatically assume, man, he ain't finna put up them numbers. Man, come on, man. Who y'all kidding? Y'all know who it was.
Right.
And so now you feel like, bro, yes, I appreciate Aaron. We know he's a generational talent. Yeah, we know he's transcendent.
Correct.
But bro, I'm on the other end of this now.
Yeah. That's the curse, and I talked to Aaron about this multiple times too. We joke about it, and I'm like, that's the curse of being with a player it's much more of a gift, because you're gonna be able to,
he can read you, he knows what you're thinking, you know what he's thinking.
And he gonna make you so much of a better player just by being around too. Like you didn't have those times where you had OTAs and then there's a day where you're not there or whatever. Like and I've heard this from some of our guys with the Raiders now, when days where I wasn't there, like days that Aaron was present, the way that team was flying around and looked out there, versus the days that he was in the training room during the whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
The guys still working. It ain't like they out there telling jokes and just like walking in between, but it's a different level of intensity,
it is,
execution, and all of that. So not even just his ability to throw the ball, but just his presence brings a different type of, it gets it out of you.
Yeah.
Essentially, kind of, I would equate it to how a coach like AP coming in, you look at that next week after we did what we did in Detroit, and then we come back and then we did what we did to the Giants. And you can say whatever you want about the Giants, they're still a NFL team. We went in there and certain guys that maybe weren't playing the way that they should, 1 week later looked like different players, and that's because of the presence of a human being and what they can do to maximize what you have in you. Maybe you don't even need new personnel. Sometimes you need somebody else to come in and make Shannon go a little bit harder. And then now that player is the player that you wanted to go get at the same price.
Right. The thing was, like me playing with John, is that what I took for granted, and I knew he was a great player, he had been to Super Bowls, he had been an MVP, is that what you take for granted is that the ball placement. Like if he put the ball between the 8 and the 4, he's telling me, Shannon, get up in your shadow. There's danger on the left or the right. So if you go left, you're going to get your clock clean. You go right. If he puts it in front of me, he's telling me I can continue to run. If he put it on my back shoulder, he's telling me, I'm stopping you from a headache. You take things like that for granted because he's been doing it like, oh, everybody gonna be doing it like this.
Amen.
And the moment you, bam, like, bro, you didn't see that guy?
That's the thing. And honestly, the placement is one piece of it, but the even more important is the timing aspect of it. Like having to do like Aaron, I was able to get away with some things that maybe wouldn't be able to work with another quarterback. Like we have a stop route or a Puma is what we called it in Green Bay, where it's a 15 yards, basically a comeback, but you turn it back inside. It's almost like a curl, but you coming back down your stem.
Right.
that route was run at 9 yards. That route was run at 10 yards. That route was run at 15 to 17 yards, just based off what I needed to do.
Right.
And having a dude like that pulling the trigger, having the ability to just whip that ball over there, not sit here and just look me down the whole way, but fill it out, hold the safety, and just feel my body language. Know that based off where guys are, that this is typically when he takes us a little bit deeper,
right.
and not sitting there like it wasn't a whole lot of times he doing this and I'm not ready, or vice versa.
Right.
So having those reps
That
together,
timing.
obviously that happened over time. But even the timing of a simple route off coverage, we got a dagger concept, and I'm running an in route, just knowing when to release that ball to where. Now, like, I've had a couple instances this past year where I'll come down the middle and the ball is where it needs to be, but it wasn't thrown when it was supposed to be thrown.
Yeah.
So now that headache we talking about, I'm sitting there trying to convince these people in the tent that I'm okay.
Right.
When it shouldn't even happen, because
Right.
that could have been a catch and run.
Right.
So
Right.
that's the part where I talk about, where you talk about the people saying, oh, he done had a year that we cuz of seeing him have, and they got spoiled over the years too, because they seen 1,500 a few times and almost 20 touchdowns in 2020. Like, they see this, so now they think that that's the standard, which it is, but they got to.
That's hard though, bro.
It's not easy to do. It's hard to score one touchdown in this league, but to get almost 100 in my career, that don't happen on accident. So when people talk about a regression and this and that, I'm saying you're just not watching the tape, because if you would have known anything about ball, you would have known that, in that game I just played that I had 71 yards, if I would have got the ball a little quicker on that dig, that would have been another 60.
Right.
Because if you look at 2 weeks before that, I got it earlier and it was 60.
I go back to the Monday night game that you guys ended up winning. I think you kicked the last second field goal, and he threw that dagger route. He threw that over route. And Fred Warren, he threw it.
You talking over the top of it, spinning pirouette?
Yes. And Fred got depth. Everything, the line, he couldn't play it no perfect.
Couldn't.
But when Aaron released it, and when you came out of that break, the perfect throw will beat the perfect coverage
every time. And that's one of them ones that the saying when you breaking up with your girl and you say it's not you, it's me. Mm-hmm. That's what you got to say to Fred in that moment.
It's not you, bro.
No, hey, hell of a job. It ain't. Don't worry about it. It ain't on you. It's us. And I had the easy job there, just going up and grabbing it, putting that ball over the top of him when Fred is probably the most athletic linebacker in the NFL. Mm-hmm. I mean, you definitely miss those type of drives and those type of catches alone.
No one is better to ask than you. What do I, Shannon Sharpe, and the national media get wrong about Aaron Rodgers?
Well, I think. See, when you're a person, and me and Aaron are a lot alike in this, when you are a person that's secure enough to not have to worry about clearing stuff up, like Aaron's not, you don't see him going on TV and on social media trying to deny any of the stuff that people saying. Like, when you're so solid with yourself, sometimes it leads to people. That's like your girl come and say, "Are you cheating on me?" And you just go, she gonna be like, "Oh, he must be cheating on me."
Yeah.
When in your head you like, "I'm not worried about you.
Right.
I'm all about you. I ain't tripping off nobody but you."
That don't even deserve a response.
I'm not even gonna give that no attention. So I think sometimes his approach with that is, he's a private person, and with a lot of his life being put in the light like that, it's tough to. And we all got our things too. We all got, different situations that are hard to explain unless you truly know what's going on. And the good thing for me, and why I love him so much, is that he's a dear friend of mine. So I do know a lot about the details of, the things behind of what people say and what's led to, why people get that perception.
Right.
But what I love about him is that he's not concerned with sitting here trying to, change that and change it in your mind. If you feel a way, then that's just how you're gonna feel.
Right.
And if that hurts you, it shouldn't, because it has nothing to do with you. And more people should approach it that way. And honestly, mind their business as it pertains to his personal life, because what the man doing with his vaccinations or non-vaccinations, immunizations and capitalization, whatever it is, that ain't changing nobody's life but his.
Right.
So at the end of the day, like, people would ask me, like, how do you come to Aaron? What do you say to him in a situation where he's in the media and y'all are in there trying to focus we like, man, we go in there and lab just like we do every other day. That man is a grown man. If he need to speak to me about anything, he know I'm here. I'm not getting in his business, just like I don't want anybody else to get in it. But, you know, there's pieces, obviously some things come out, you know, here and there and people gonna speculate, but I just love that he's secure enough to be himself, and the people that truly know him understand him a lot better than what's being, you know, put on the outside. And I'm just glad I'm not that level of celebrity where I gotta deal with it all.
Everything gets parsed and picked apart.
90% of what people talk about, they don't know about. So, you know, he just try to keep it moving, and we all do the same with him.
Want to join Club Shay Shay? Become an official member by hitting that subscribe button, where you never know who's going to be joining us for drinks and conversation. Don't be late to the party, because you know we like to do something before two something.